Last year, research published by 3 leading traveller organisations said interfamily violence is a pervasive problem affecting traveller individuals and their families, with far-reaching consequences for the entire traveller community that include mental health difficulties, imprisonment, injury and, in some instances, death.
If there's a feud going on between families, it affects everyone because we're all related and very closely related. It's horrible for our older generation.
I feel sorry for a lot of women and the children caught up in this. I've seen footage where they're witnesses to this, or they're too put in the line of fire.
Also last year, the Traveller Mediation Service wrote, "It is important to state that violence is not part of traveller culture, but that interfamily conflict has reverberations for the entire traveller community, where backing down is seen as weakness and a loss of honour."
It's not dirty to talk about feuding. It's okay to want to resolve it, and it's okay that we take responsibility as well for our actions as community. But it's also important that the government takes responsibilities for their ill treatment for many years to our community.
I think in the most recent years, it's escalated quite high. It's always the women and children who will feel the most negative effect.
The Irish Traveller Movement declined to be interviewed for this programme, but it wrote to Primetime on behalf of itself and 11 other traveller organisations asking that this broadcast be called off. They say that it will reinforce negative stereotypes and contribute to racism and discrimination, and that it will unjustly associate an entire community with interfamily conflict. On the other hand, dozens of travellers cooperated in making this programme, which aims to spotlight a significant criminal problem that severely impacts the traveller community. Feuding is, of course, not a uniquely traveller problem. In modern times, violent feuding is prominently associated with drug-dealing criminal gangs in Limerick and Dublin, such as the Kinahan Hutch and Crumlin-Drimna feuds, or ongoing violence centred around the Clondalkin and Ronanstown areas of the capital. Traveller feuds, in which the vast majority are not involved, however, tend to be mainly family disputes, often around abstract issues of family honour.
Let go!
We live in family groups. We tend to move. Our social life is always done in family. So when I say family, it could be a couple of thousand people. Obviously, when people tend to live on top of each other, there would be disagreement. But the difference between now and then is, now in the past, if we were nomadic and we had the freedom and the ability to move around Ireland very, very freely. So when we moved, like if there was a dispute or if there was an issue that might affect more than 1 or 2 people, the family would get up and they would move to another camp.
Getting up and leaving is rarely an option nowadays, partly because in 2002 the state responded to problems arising from unauthorised encampments on public land by effectively outlawing the traveller nomadic lifestyle, provoking protests. Nowadays, travellers who stop on public land, as they had done for centuries, risk prosecution and confiscation of their caravan by Gardaí.
It's against the law for travellers to travel in this country, and it's remarkable to me when I go to Sligo, Donegal, see people in their campers, white middle-class settled people in their campers, in their touring trailers, and they can park up anywhere they want and use the services. And it's unfortunate if a member of the traveller community went to do that, the Gardaí would be caught in them. And that's absolutely, taking away our way of life and the whole community's way of life.
Aside from simply moving away from conflict, disputes were commonly settled by the traditional method of bare-knuckle fighting.
If there was a feuding issue, men would fight. There would be a bare-knuckle fight, and the men, after the fight, the men would shake hands, and that was the issue resolved.
Bare-knuckle fights are illegal, but are still used as an organised way of solving disputes. but some conflicts still end up in a cycle of violence and retaliation. Last year, the Traveller Mediation Service said that in its experience, disputes over the last number of years within the community have worsened and become more violent, with increasing use of weapons, especially petrol bombs and guns. Earlier this year in Dublin, a man had fingers cut off in a suspected feud attack. In Galway in 2023, this happened in a car park. The year before, in Kerry, 6 males murdered Thomas Dooley at a funeral. In Fermanagh in 2020, Westmeath man Joe Joyce murdered John Paul McDonagh in another feuding incident. In Longford, feuding has been an intermittent problem for decades.
Well, I remember very well Cemetery Sunday in July 2019. We had the police helicopter in the sky, we had the armed response unit, we even had the dog unit. And this was for a mass in a cemetery. We nearly went over the brink.
From 2019, Gardaí set up Operation Stola to target feuding in Longford. After the first 3 years, the Department of Justice reported 6,761 incidents associated with the operation, 206 arrests and 454 charges.
I am very familiar with the very disturbing news coming from Longford in the last few months, and I am informed by the Gardaí authorities that the majority of violent crimes occurring in the Longford district in the year to date refer to feuding families.
Pavy Point declined to be interviewed for this programme, though in an interview on Shannonside Radio last year, its co-director Martin Collins spoke about feuding in Longford.
The Traveller community who live in Longford, the vast majority who are appalled and terrified at the behaviour of a small number of other Traveller families. This is not an inherent part of Traveller culture or Traveller tradition. This behaviour is just, it's barbaric, it's appalling, and actually the biggest victims of all is Travellers themselves. And that's the point that we keep making. We've seen Travellers, unfortunately, who've lost their lives. We've seen children uprooted from school. We've seen homes damaged and vandalised and set on fire.
People in Longford town have mixed views on the effect of feuding.
You'd be scared to go outside like 6, 7 o'clock. And all the time, that's why I'm coming home so early with the kids.
There probably would be people from the country that might be affected by something like that, but for me, no, I wouldn't be affected by it.
And you feel very safe here?
Oh, absolutely.
If you're a traveller, you know, you get painted with that brush, even though you're not involved in the feud. You know, it possibly maybe only 2 families are involved in the feud, and it spills over then to the rest of the community, travellers as well.
It definitely negatively impacts on the public perception of the travelling community here in Longford. They're just like any other people here in town, but in terms of the people involved in the feuding, that really lets the side down, as it were.
While there are still serious feud incidents from time to time in and around Longford, things have calmed recently, partly due to law and order measures.
Its apogee was in 2019. And since that, we've had over 36 raids, houses have been confiscated, an awful lot of luxury goods, cash and drugs have been seized in Longford. And I think that has really put a lot of these people, they thought they were untouchable, they are now in deep trouble with their properties.
We seem to have got a good handle on it here. It's engagement on all sides, in fairness, and it's really been through, would you believe it, the mums, do you know what I mean, of a lot of these people and the women within the travelling community. They're a great way of the bridge, between ourselves.
While Longford may be getting to grips with feuding, it remains a hot problem in other parts of the country. This month, there were shots fired in Kilmallock and Limerick in relation to an ongoing feud. In Rathkeale, 4 houses were targeted in arson attacks on the same night in May. In neighbouring County Clare, the problem is intractable.
Feuding has been a big issue in Clare in recent years. We can go back as recent as 2023, Christmas, up to 10 traveller families were feuding in Ennis alone, which is Clare's county town, which is a very high number.
One of the incidents involved shooting at a traveller-specific site in Ennis. Another terrorised occupants of a site in West Clare. An Garda Síochána declined a request for interview, but Primetime has learned that it estimates there are 13 active feuds throughout County Clare.
That's of major concern because these feuds aren't just happening in tight confines, they're happening out in open air, out in our streets in the county. It has the public feeling quite unsafe in some areas.
Last Christmas, an incident in Ennis went viral on social media.
A number of residents in Ennis, to their shock, could see a fight, a feud unfolding on the street in front of them, screeching cars, men racing up and down.
In the UK, the stages of an ongoing dispute between a traveller family from Scotland and an Irish traveller family based in England are captured on social media, allowing people to watch even feuds outside of this country unfold and escalate.
For Scotland's #1.
As soon as it's happening, it's being recorded. And you have access immediately in all over the world, whether you're living in Germany, whether you're living in Navan, you have access to it immediately. So, and not only have you access to it, everybody has access to it. So the negative stuff that's been said and done in different parts of the country is at my doorstep immediately. And you've no way of escaping. So before even any peacekeepers or mediators can get involved, it's all over. It's all over the world.
It's a video now, tell you. I tried to call you out now, send word with the boys to fight you. Say if you can fight me or Jimmy, you can have it tomorrow, the day after, or Tuesday, whenever you want it, before the funeral.
Hit them up, false box to pay it.
While call-out videos can attract hundreds of thousands of views, social media posts reflecting a positive image of the community typically get hundreds of views.
Slaps, and that's what I've done. With a shoulder over place, you're a woman, yeah.
There is a focus on negative. I suppose negativity sells. So that's the headlines that you will see all the time. And I suppose the issue for me is that all travellers are painted as the same. We're all put down as the one. So if a traveller at the far end of the country does something, it automatically becomes my problem. And I'm blamed for the same thing. I might not even know that person.
Violence by travellers or members of other marginalised ethnic groups against peers is sometimes termed lateral violence, a concept that has been studied among the Sami people of Northern Europe and the Aboriginals of Australia.
Lateral violence is a form of violence that happens to groups. It's an intra-group conflict, and it only happens to groups that are subjected to some form of oppression.
It's when people from the same community direct their rage, anger, frustrations towards themselves and their community because it's safer to, rather than to direct it to the people that are doing the oppressing.
I think lateral violence as a concept, it's very complex and it can be difficult to use. I think there's a danger that it becomes an excuse as well to behave badly towards one's peers, and that's not the intention. But as a theoretical concept, I think it's important to look at the reasons for why it might happen so that we can actually try to work on the reasons in order to transform the actual conflict.
How much the concept can be applied to the issue of traveller feuding is debatable. But what is clear is that travellers are a hard-pressed ethnic minority who are often unjustly treated.
The biggest challenges facing our community at the moment is mental health, addiction, homelessness and unemployment. I'm thinking of suicide, schizophrenia, other mental health problems like depression, anxiety. It's overwhelming actually within our community.
A survey in 2017 found that only 17% of non-travellers questioned would employ a traveller, and only 9% would have a traveller as a family member. It's unlawful to discriminate on the basis that someone is a traveller, but that doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
I'm living in the same town for since 1975. So I'm nearly 50 years living in this town. My children were all born and reared in this town. We live in this town along with all my extended family. There are still premises in the town where I live, that's in walking distance from where I've worked all my life, that do not serve travellers, because we don't want your people here.
You could go anywhere in the country that you haven't been before, and just because you're a traveller, it's no, not today. Like, it could be literally just a restaurant for something to eat. It's a hard thing to explain to children. It's hard to explain why. But you don't have an explanation because you don't know why yourself. And I suppose it's embarrassing for them as well, because they're excited and they're getting to go out with their family for the day, and then it's just a blank no and it's a stop. And most times you're just that deflated you end up going home. So it ruins a whole family day out for the kids as well.
Despite all of the challenges, there is still much pride in being a member of a community that is genetically different from the settled Irish, is heavily family-centred, religious, and has its own unique customs.
So by coming here to these events, you're hearing the traveller language being spoken and the importance of it. You're hearing about our customs. Despite living in the middle of housing estates, we still live by our own cultural rules.
I couldn't ask to be from a better community. And I mean that with all my heart, because, you know, we don't talk enough about the positivities within the community. It's the family, it's the love, it's how the community take care of each other. I'll give you an example. On the 27th of June 2020, when I got the phone call from Micheál Martin to be one of his 11 senators, I'll never forget the high in the community. And that was both England and Ireland. You know, people being so happy that somebody from the traveller community eventually got into the houses of the Oireachtas.
Elected rather than appointed for her second term, Ireland's only senator from a traveller background believes that the state needs to do better for her community.
Some days I feel very ashamed as a woman who's in the Shannon trying to be part of a better Ireland and a change for everybody, including the traveller community, that there's no political will, absolutely no political will for a better change for our community.